Welcome to our Dead Talk. Uh, Quick disclaimer: this is gonna be a rough one. Um, so if anybody is very uncomfortable with hearing about a nurse having abusing people that have uh, emotional traumas or disabilities, now is your time to tune out. And come back when you see the sheet pop up on my screen. I don't know if Dino has anything over on hers. Pretty much whenever we're done with the actual background, I switch over to the document, and that means we're done talking about the background of whoever it is we're talking about. That's so if you see the nurse go poof off my screen, then we are done talking about her and all the terrible shit that happened. So, nurse. Her name is Sally. She had a husband named Andrew, and he was killed in a logging accident. And Sally was very sad about this, which it's kind of an understandable thing if your husband gets killed by a tree. Um, but she didn't have any way to support herself, so she had to go and take a job, and the only job she could find was to work at a nurse at an asylum because apparently they didn't have any requirements for education or qualifications. They're just like, you take the night shift, you got the job. So she went. And she was pretty much disgusted by everybody there. The only person that I really saw her like treating with like any kind of niceness or respect was the anxious girl for a while because she would sit and talk to her, braid her hair. Yeah. Um yeah, she'd talk to her, braid her hair, be nice to her, give her little pats. Um but yeah, everybody else she was just very disgusted with. Even people she worked with, which to be fair, he was kind of creepy. There's an orderly named Kavanaugh, and he would look at her boobs a lot, and she didn't like that. Which I mean, who really would,
Right.
unless you really are trying to make people look at your boobs, in which
Unless you
case,
want them to, but non
yeah,
consensual boob ogling.
yeah, not great. Um, so she like spent most of her time just trying to ignore all that stuff. And on days when it was quiet, she mentions that it's like being able to actually take a breath. Um, which there's a lot of mentioning of breathing throughout her lore. But there is this other lady who starts screaming down the hall and wakes everybody up. Now this lady ends up being kind of critical to um her story because this lady pretty much tells her that she used to be a nurse like her, and then she started to make everybody that she didn't think made a contribution to society uh, disappear with a syringe and a very specific combination of chemicals. And at first, Sally was like, "No, that's wrong." But then, as she kind of went through and listened to people scream, somebody vomited on the floor in front of her. Um, she just decided that, you know what, maybe she's right. And the big turning point, I think, was when she went into the anxious girl's room and the anxious girl actually seemed like she was happy to see her, like happy to have her in her room. And she started braiding her hair and she said, "Did you see the robins today?" Didn't even wait for her to answer and said, "Well, they'll be dead before you ever leave this room." And then she found lice in her hair and slapped her for being filthy. So she goes back to that other lady's room and she decides, you know what? I'm going to do what you did. And she was upset because all these people are getting cared for and she doesn't think they're worthy of being cared for um, when her husband should have been receiving this care. And so she decides, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get that formula from you and I'm going to go ahead and do that thing. And the first person that she takes down is the person that gave her the formula because she was like, "Oh, she's talking so high and mighty, but she's clearly one of the people that needs to go." and there's even the cutscene where she kills that lady. Um, so anyway, eventually the police go to the asylum, and about 30 people were killed. Um, they did specifically mention that a lot of them had marks on their necks. Because I was figuring that she was just gonna use the syringe, like, that was gonna be the thing, but no, apparently she dropped the syringe thing real quick and just went to choking people. Um, anyway, so they decided, "You know what? Let's go ahead and take her out of here," because they pretty much found her sitting down and rocking back and forth, put her in an ambulance. The ambulance crashed, there were no survivors, they never found her. Um, and that's the end of her official lore. Now, after that, I had questions, like, why does she have this bag over her head? Why does she make the screaming noises? Like, that was all, like, questions I had in my head. And apparently the developers have specifically stated, I couldn't find the source of it, so, take it with a grain of salt.
Hmm.
They said specifically that the killers have never inflicted harm on themselves. And because of that, there is also a point out, if you go to DBD's official website and you look at Crotus Pren Asylum, you can see bodies hanging from the rafters. And if you see how her head is bent, and like back in the day, they would put a bag over somebody's head when they were hanging, and how she's constantly gasping for breath, I think somebody actually took care of the job because of just the way she's got a very, like, just the whole thing going on there. And they also said that, like, her power comes from people's breath. So just all in all, I don't think, like, after she was found on the ground rocking, that she would probably have been disgusted by herself and tried to do something, but I think somebody else took her down because they said specifically that the killers never hurt themselves. So I think somebody got a hold of the bitch and put her down. Just because of again, it looks like she's had some neck trauma, and that's why the bag's over her head. So I think somebody got revenge, and that's what I'm sticking with, and that's why she's breathing so heavily, because she can't breathe, because somebody got the bitch, God damn it.
I mean, that,
So that's where I'm at.
yeah, I mean, like, that's actually pretty common, like, execution by hanging practice
Yeah.
is covering their head first.
Mhm. But
But
like I
obviously, it
said,
wasn't a formal execution, but, like, that's pretty.
yeah. But, like,
Wow.
I was
My brain!
yeah, they specifically said the killers never caused themselves harm, which means somebody else did the job. And, like, if you pull up Crotus
Wow.
Pren, you can see the people hanging, and I think I
Yeah.
did see somebody with a dress up there.
Oh, you were, like, looking
So
when we were playing the
oh,
other night.
yeah. And, so yeah, I think somebody got her, and I'm really happy with that theory that somebody, she got out of the ambulance and went back to go finish the job, and somebody was like, "Fuck no, bitch." Just justice was served.
Yeah, dude, same August. I feel like my brain is bigger also, thanks to Zen. Hello, Hexfender. Hi, Cammy. Thank you for the lurk wobble.
Yeah,
Um,
those were my questions. I was like, they never mentioned the bag. And the initial thought was, well, maybe she did it to herself because she found herself disgusting, but then it was that DBD developer comment that the killers never hurt themselves
right.
that made me go, somebody got the bitch. Somebody's like, some people are like, oh, it was probably the entity just forcing her to do that. But it's like the entity's just like the entity's not gonna do that. There's not gonna be any justice
But
from the entity. There
but
is somebody else at the asylum and they put that bitch up.
but part of her lore was like after like she killed that one night when she like strangled a bunch of people, right?
Yeah.
Um they were taking her away. Oh no. My brain. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
They were taking her away in an ambulance, and apparently that ambulance crashed and like they
Yes.
never found her.
Yeah.
But like I wouldn't doubt, because she would have killed other staff, like
Oh yeah.
orderlies, other nurses and everything. Like supposedly she pretty much just murdered everybody that night. Um if somebody on the ambulance was just like, hey, that was like my friend, my brother, my cousin.
Yeah.
Um
I mean,
And
it easily could have been just like they came and
just
they saw everything and you're like, "You know what? I don't think justice is gonna be served properly here."
just like somebody, like one of the EMTs who was in charge of like transporting her to like wherever she was supposed to go when they found her,
Mhm.
decided to. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So that's what I think. And then the entity being, the little douche that it is, put her back at Crotus Pren where she has to literally roam the map where her own body is hanging, which is why she's floating, because she was hung there.
I don't think she was hung there. I think she was killed in the ambulance.
I think she got hung though, just from just the head by itself and the way she hangs, like when she's,
Broke neck
just
lady.
leaving. Yeah, pretty much. Cause like her feet are like bent inwards. She's clearly going to one side where like her head is tilted.
Hmm.
So, and again, when I looked at the Crotus Pred, there did seem to be somebody in a skirt up there.
I mean, all the nurses would have worn dresses.
True, but there were no other mentions of any other nurses there.
They would have had other nurses though, like logically,
Okay.
without having to mention it. That would just be like an assumed reality.
I figured since, I mean, Crotus Pren is so small that it would have been enough just to have her, especially since
No,
they're
she
like
can't
sort of
work 24/7.
well,
and
she's on the
she
night shift.
and she can't work alone.
She's got the orderly.
Nah, there would have been like at least one other.
Yeah, I think
Um,
somebody got the bitch just because, like, she wasn't in that kind of shape, you know? So, that's my theory on what happened.
I like
But
it.
I but yeah,
I think that's
I don't know.
interesting. I still think it happened in the ambulance just because that's where she vanished and was last like seen. But that's good.
Either way, I firmly believe somebody took justice into their own hands and handled it.
Loki says the real killer in DBD capitalism. Also, Sunny, thank you so much for the love. Uh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry that it didn't pop up. I will repeat it when we get to a different screen that actually has it. Okay. So, let me double stream. I accidentally had your stream up.
Oh,
Not accidentally, like I intentionally had your stream up. I just didn't move it out of the way for our order of how everybody dies. So, like you mentioned, this is going to be at Crotus Pren, which is uh, the one map with the big building in the middle with the like greenhouse and it has like all the gardens around it and stuff.
yes.
Um, and then for our first dead, I was just going to go ahead and say, well, first of all, let me just make a blanket statement of the fact that she
Shit,
is.
thank you. Holy Lord.
Woo!
Thank
Oh
you
my
for all the
gosh.
gifted subs. I don't know why my thing didn't go off playing the sound alert, but thank you.
um, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just because of the eugenics, like the very ableist eugenics. I think there's just a lot of people that like on my list of just saying like anybody who is even remotely or potentially the type who if they lived as they do in the lore but in the same time frame of the nurse, so like if she saw them she would have considered like this is the type of person who would have been in an
Oh,
asylum. It's a lot
oh
of
my
people.
goodness. Yeah.
Like for example, Bill, PTSD. Very likely. Lori and Quentin, stalkers. Just they would just be deranged because everybody would be like, nobody's trying to kill you. Quentin, people can't just go into your dreams and murder you. Like, he would absolutely be
Yeah.
locked up. Um, all sorts of those, like, Cheryl, the reincarnation thing, like, people
Yeah.
would just be like, you're safe, like, just absolutely just crazy. So, I think a lot of those people, like, they don't stand a chance, but I think for me, the first dead's Nia.
Interesting. Show your work.
For one, there is graffiti around Crotus Pren.
Mhm.
And I myself have worked inside of an abandoned hospital before. And if I can tell you, that place is tagged from floor to ceiling, every inch possible. People who love graffiti love abandoned buildings. So I would not doubt that she would hang around there. Also, just her personality of just being very anti authoritarian. She's very against like the capitalist structure, the status quo of everything. A woman like that in the early 1900s, 100% would have been institutionalized. She would have stood no chance. So I think if the nurse is going in with her early 20th century mentality and runs into someone like Nia, who's alone, tagging a place, like just very delinquent behavior, would not stand a chance, and I think she would just get got from the start. I also think it's pretty fitting because they're the same DLC, and I was like, oh, this is just chef's kiss.
I was thinking Quentin would be the first one down,
I'm okay with that as well.
just because no one would believe that a guy is killing people in his dreams. He's refusing to sleep, like absolutely adamantly refusing to go to sleep, is taking like caffeine and shit, anything he possibly can to stay awake.
Self-induced insomnia, paranoia.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
anybody's gonna get institutionalized, he's the one, because
Yeah, 100%.
it's taking, like, people always say that, like, if you need help, it's usually because it's starting to impact your day-to-day life, and it has definitely impacted Quentin's day-to-day life, and if you don't believe him, then, like, he's 100%.
Yeah.
So I was like, Quentin's the first one gone. Like, I could see somebody trying to, like, take him over to the asylum, not realizing that it's, not in use anymore, and then Quentin's
let's
just
let's
gone.
compromise. Let's build a world where Nia and Quentin are actually friends. And she's like, hey, come with me and tag this place. You're not going to sleep anyway.
Deal.
Did you say deal?
Yeah.
All right. So Nia and Quentin die together.
It's okay. I know. He's just, like, stalking big boy stalking out of the room.
I'm sorry, it's sad, Robin. I do love Quentin.
So,
He is precious. So Nia dies
Nia dies tagging the place, and Quentin dies because, you know
tagging along.
yes, tagging along.
But I'm
So do you have a guess at the last survivor?
the last survivor. Um, I'm between Zarina and Yinjin, but I'm also like, and Felix. If I'm iffy. I keep going back and forth on Felix. I think Zarina and Yunjin are probably the most sane. At least, like if you give like their backstories or anything like that. Like if they were like to meet you, And you're like, tell me about yourself. They wouldn't be like, there's a man in my dreams who is killing all. They wouldn't do any shit like that. Um, so I think as far as like passing as the sanest and without any um, really close ties with mental illness, like personally themselves, I think they stand the best chance. But I'm also conflicted because of the nurse's background with eugenics. I know it started as ableist eugenics,
Mm,
but it is a very narrow path to get to racial eugenics from there. So
yeah.
also, I'm just like, does a person of color even stand a chance?
Well, she also bases it on body type. Um, because if you notice, like at the beginning, she called the orderly Kavanaugh, and then when she started to like kind of turn, she started referring to him as the fat orderly. And that's how they referred to the people in the asylum based on whatever characteristic is that they think is wrong with them.
Robin just said David's mental illness. British. It was rude, Robin, but it was funny. You are right, though,
Um,
which tells me that Jane and Jeff will definitely not be one of the last ones.
yeah. Um, I think that number 1, a lot of people are gonna make it out of this one.
A lot of
Straight
people
up,
will?
I think a lot of them are gonna make it.
Okay.
Like, a majority are gonna make it. And 2, if at the end of the day only 1 could make it, I think it would be Yoonjin.
Okay.
Because she just, like, she carries herself in such a way that if you were trying to find a flaw in her, it would be hard.
Right.
And if you found a flaw, she would have something to say about it. They would be like, "No, you're wrong."
I'm
So,
okay with that. I'm curious how you would say a lot of them would make it because honestly, I think we do need to figure out like the setting that this would take place in. But I feel like honestly, if you went through and talked to most of them, and just said, like, tell me about yourself, like Ace, gambling addiction,
yep,
Jeff, overweight
drinking.
and alcoholic, Ash, just kind of a similar situation to Quentin. Honestly, if Ash just like talked about his past.
Okay, I have Ash down as my mandatory bathroom death.
Again?
Yes, because he had an instance where somebody showed up in the bathroom, a ghostly figure, and 1, he tried to bang it. 2, he was successful, but 3, it also occurred in a shower/bathroom. So, we're
Oh,
already there, and we are already aware that the nurse is
uh,
not gonna put up with a bathroom bang.
okay, wait. Okay, before I give you this, are we only going to do original characters, or do we want to try to delve into licensed characters at all? Because I think licensed characters can get pretty money, especially the ones like I think doing Lori and Michael would be bland, honestly. But um, if we talk about who's potentially one of the hottest killers, Nurse is definitely up there when she doesn't have a sheet over her face, when she's not like a baghead. So I could see Ash going for that, but I would counter you with Amanda the pig being an absolute babe and her home app actually having a bathroom.
To be fair, also, Crotus Pren does have a mattress,
It has many
and
because it has a lot of beds.
and you and you know Ash is gonna wanna put it to good use because he has no qualms.
That's fair. Lukey says Ash seems kinky, choking incident gone too far.
Yeah,
No,
and
I'm
I mean, for
definitely up for
fuck's
that.
sake, the guy has can have a puppet on his hand.
I know. And a chainsaw.
Yeah,
And just.
so but yeah, I think a lot of people are going to survive, and I have reasoning for it. So we'll get there when we get there, but I think a lot of people are gonna make it.
Okay. How are we going to get them to the scene?
Hmm. You know, I'm really shipping the whole Kate just has a tour bus.
And everybody just works for Kate.
People either work for Kate or they're friends with somebody who works for Kate, and they're like, "Oh my god, you're going to the asylum? I wanna go. Hey, Felix,
I
bro, you wanna let your friend know that the one that goes and looks up stuff? Let's go, guys, yeah!" Just everybody on the tour bus strumming the guitar, pulls
I've
up,
thought
just
about uh I mentioned it a little bit ago that I filmed inside of an abandoned hospital before. It's not uncommon. Like technically a lot of buildings are abandoned but they're still owned. It's not uncommon for owners to lend their abandoned buildings to film crews to film just random movies in.
say, "Fuck, the one that's close to us has, like, tours."
Yeah.
So, I'm just Kate's tour bus is just like the Scooby-Doo van, but bigger.
So we could put a lot of them in Kate's tour bus.
Yeah.
That works. And then, do we want to do something like it's just a building that just has tours?
Also, I would like to point out that usually a tour bus will have a bathroom.
That's true. There will
So,
always be a bathroom with us.
we will have a
It
porta
would be
potty brought with
really,
us.
it would be really weird though. Like, could you imagine if that's like a bus that you travel on, but like at one of the stops, some dude died in that bathroom? Could you imagine?
So
I'd never be able to shit in there again.
they just open the tour bus bathroom and Ash is just sitting there. He's dead, but he's smiling. So
Oh man. Okay, so Kate's tour bus.
yeah.
Who did we have on there last time? We had Zarina and Jane with her.
Yunjin was her manager.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so Yunjin, Zarina, Jane, Kate.
Yes.
I think that's all we had with them, right?
Yeah, they were kind of a small group.
Right. Because we already killed a lot of people at that point.
Yeah.
That was the Wraith episode, wasn't it?
No, that was Billy.
Was it Billy? Was
Yeah.
it was because
Remember, because
then
I
we had
said that.
alternate endings.
Yeah, we had 2 endings. Yeah.
You go to most gas stations in America, that could be true. What, people having died in those bathrooms? Probably, tragically. I wouldn't doubt it. All right. So we have the Kate tour bus. Kate, Jane, Zarina, Yunjin. Do we want anybody else to be with Kate?
Okay, I loved having the bro car. That just made my day.
The bro car. That was David, Ace, Jeff, and Ash, right?
I think wasn't Dwight in there? Because didn't him and Jake, like, go and pee together?
They were in a different car. We had like the original 4 together for some like.
Oh, yeah.
So that's how they were together. The bro car was Ace, David, Jeff, and Ash.
Yeah.
So
I love the bro car.
do we want to? I think it would actually be really good to be able to help kind of group the survivors up a little bit easier. But if we made it an abandoned building that just has tours, like you just pay to go in, and I don't know, maybe it's the anniversary. It's the anniversary of like when she murdered everybody, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, this is the best night to go, and they don't realize that like she's gonna do it again.
Oh no.
There we go. We got our setting.
Yeah, so that's how they got there. They're all carpooling.
Perfect. Do we want to start with the bro car? Because you already have plans for Ash.
Yeah, Ash dies in the toilet. That's just how it's gonna go.
And I'm pretty sure Jeff and Ace don't stand a chance.
David might.
David might.
I don't think she would be tempted to go after David unless it's like shirtless David. Just, you know. He just walks up, gets out of the car, takes the shirt off, and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fight."
Oh my gosh, I wish my pin board wasn't in the living room now. I have a pin of lumberjacks, and let me just tell you, like, lumberjacks are just ripped, and obviously, like, her man was a lumberjack.
Oh my god! The nurse is gonna remarry.
The nurse and then slash David. We can't do that to Dwight. We can't split David and Dwight for the nurse. She's not worthy. Dwight's way better for him.
I thought Dwight and Jake were hooking up.
No. The entire fandom ships Dwight and David. That's the thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Dwight Jake. Because it's like the scared boy with the calmest boy. It's like, don't worry. If you gotta pee, I'll go with you.
Ash's ending, Robin says Ash's ending is actually the same for any time he dies. He actually goes off screen and Robin picks him up and they leave.
Yes. It's really just a giant realistic sex doll that's in the toilet. Robin has taken the actual Ash.
Oh, wow. All right. So let's start with our bro car.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming up. They're going to go on their tour. And, do you want Ash to just...
Yeah.
They've been driving a long time. Ash has got to go.
They might not even be going there, but Ash needs to take a shit and he's got to shit now.
All right, let me go ahead and just put their names up here.
So they're just coming in. The car's going all back and forth because Jeff is already drunk. Ace is betting whether or not they're gonna crash when we get there. And David's like, "Oh, dude, there's an asylum up here. We should fight in there. That would be great." Like, I'm just imagining him just, selfieing it up in there, just like fighting a chair, punching a wall.
God. Anything that just happens to look at him wrong, even a door.
So I imagine if Jeff has been pumping some, I imagine David's gotten a hold of some. So yeah, a tree could look at him wrong, and he like, I see a face in there. I'm gonna fight it.
I assume if we could just go ahead with they've probably been drinking.
Yeah,
They're probably a little drunk.
Ace is already making bets on if they're going to crash, and then when they finally park the car, he's making bets on who's gonna win, David or that tree that's looking at him funny.
Obviously the tree will win.
Yeah.
So sorry, David.
He goes to headbutt the tree and just dies from it.
I was thinking, I was like, can he die by a tree? I was thinking he would like hit his head and pass out, but if you want to kill him,
I think if you hit your head hard enough on a tree, especially if you hit it in such a way that a branch hits like the lower part of your nose, you're gone. David doesn't even get killed by the nurse. David gets killed by tree.
Okay.
And he's not gonna back down to a tree, god damn it.
It's a fucking tree. Doesn't stand a chance. We are bullying David. This happens a lot. We bully a lot of the characters. Okay, so then Jeff and Ace.
Jeff's drunk, doesn't even see it coming. He can't even fight it off.
What if they don't intend to actually go on the tour, they're just waiting for Ash to like piss so they can keep going wherever their destination is, probably some like weird concert at a dive bar. I imagine after Ash takes too long, they're probably just gonna go in and Ace seems like the type to be like, "Did you fall in?" as he like opens the bathroom door.
Going like, do you have a defibrillator attachment on that arm, man?
Just a chainsaw? No, oh my god, no! David gets his ass kicked by the tree, and then they're like, wait, Ash has a chainsaw, let me go get it.
Oh my god, yes! We can't let this man's death be in vain, we must avenge him.
I'm gonna find Ash and be like, man, we need you to get your chainsaw. And he's just dead on the bathroom floor. Smile on his face, like, yeah. And then the nurse comes and gets them. So do we have a three-way bathroom death?
Oh my god, we might. So I imagine they would like start backing away slowly. And then she would just blink in there.
Yeah, yeah. She just appears out of nowhere and just slice. And then one of them probably starts to run away, but you know how she does. Just.
It just drags them back in there. There is no escape from the bathroom death.
She's like fucking moaning Myrtle at this point, just
Yeah.
haunting the bathroom. All
This is
right.
her home now.
Okay, who else did we want grouped up?
I feel like the others would probably be actually showing up for the tour, so I think they would all just show up
Oh yeah.
together because
Uh,
they're all getting there for their assigned time.
so like everybody else all shows up at once, like it's just a big tour.
Yeah. And
Oh,
Elodie's
that's.
like the tour guide
I was thinking that. I was hovering
who
over
did the
her.
research.
I was like, oh, she would be perfect for like a tour guide.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, that would be great. Because of that, I want her to live until the end. I feel like the tour
Like
guide has to make it.
like I said, I think almost everybody can make it. So, so long as you're not intoxicated, I think you're in good shape.
All right, so everybody else shows up. We got a big ass tour bus full of 4 people, and just everybody else in their own little like carpools. Do we want to kind of like group them together? Who would be with who?
Yeah, well, let's keep Kate's crew together
Yeah.
and
So that is. Whoops. Yunjin, Zarina, and Jane.
then it was Meg, Claudette, Jake, and Dwight were all together.
I think originally we had Cheryl, Steve, Nancy, Quentin, and Lori all
Yeah,
together,
yeah, we had the teenagers driving, which I mean that checks out.
right?
Teen's gonna teen, you know.
Uh, Cheryl, Lori, and they're just like, man, it sucks. Quentin died last week. He would have loved this place.
Yeah.
Raiden agrees.
Oh, geez, there's something out there. They're all barking now.
So this leaves Yui, Felix, Adam, Bill, Fung.
I feel like what was it? Felix and Elodie are probably gonna travel together. Yui, I'm just assuming she's on the motorcycle. Like Yui's driving alone.
Felix and okay, so when I did tours for the haunted house, it was me and one other person, and we just like exchange like he did like a group at 9 p.m. and I did a group at 9:30, and then like we just like staggered the groups so they could both be tour guides,
Ah.
and then we could have two actual groups who don't know what's happening to the other group.
Yeah. Okay, so Elodie and Felix are gonna be our tour guides.
So then Adam, Yui, Bill, and Fung would be, and Tap. Sorry, I forgot about Tap. Oh my gosh. They could be people who like arrived on their own, but
Top security.
just get grouped together. Tap could be security. Good call. So Bill, Fung, Adam, and Yui.
Yeah.
They're just people showed up on their own. Just get grouped together because you know you can't just have a tour for like one person. I already forgot a name. Adam.
Yeah. And Tap is our security.
All right, let's start murdering people. Kiwi
Okay.
says whenever I go to a haunted house, I feel like I'm going to be the newest addition to the tour. Oh,
I
I'm
am one
so
of the
sorry.
infuriating people at haunted houses because I like to look around and I'm usually smiling.
Hmm. Do you remember that one time we went through and pretended we were petrified
Mhm.
and how much fun the actors were having with us?
Yeah,
That's a highlight. We have to do that
that's
again.
I was gonna say whenever I would go through the haunt and do the screaming, I would get some of the best performances.
Hmm.
Granted, I would usually get the ones that were like they would start laughing because I would like the better they did, the more energy they got, the worse I would act to the point that I would hit the ground and army crawl out of there. Like it's I had such a good performance that the haunted house is using me pretending to be scared in their video advertisement still. But yeah, it's if you ever wanna have a really good haunted house performance, get your designated screamers out front and release them into the house. It's
Yes,
worth it.
100%. Um, okay. So if we have two tour guides, we can actually split this up into perfectly even groups of technically nine, but 8 tourists and 1 tour guide. So if we have Kate, Yunjin, Serena, Jane, May, Claudette, Jake, and Dwight all in one group,
Mhm.
and we can have a Lodi be their tour guide.
Okay.
So they're traveling around looking at this abandoned asylum. How will they die?
So, number 1, I think that only one person in that group is potentially going to die, and that's Dwight.
We can't just kill all the men.
Hey, I'm not we have other men still available. I'm just saying, Dwight is a very anxious boy. So he's gonna be the target in that group. But I'm also saying that if a short lady comes over and tries to strangle somebody and you have a large group, they're gonna jump you.
She's a ghost.
Actually, if you look at her Mori, she may look like she's a ghost, but you can see that people are actually able to
Oh
firmly make
yeah,
contact with her
they do, don't
body.
they? That's
So
true.
that means she has a physical form that could take an ass whooping.
Oh.
If she comes after Dwight with that many people, they're gonna jump her, and her only option at that point is gonna be to blink the fuck out of there. Like, her best shot there is to give Dwight the injection and get out. And I don't think that Nurse has the tactical, brain for that.
What if it took them too long to notice Dwight was being attacked? What if they just hear Dwight in the background, like, and Meg's just like not even looking? She's like, oh my god, it's not that scary. He's just like
Okay,
stuck behind everybody. And by the time they realize like what's happening, they go to fight her, but he's already gone.
okay, that's fine.
All right, I'm gonna keep these grouped as they are, but I'm gonna like number them to put in an order. So, Dwight, strangled at the back of the group. Meg, I feel like suffers from the same issue of Nia, where a girl of her personality would have definitely been institutionalized by the nurse's terms.
Yeah, I think Meg gives me the feeling like she's got, like, ADHD because she always feels like she's always moving. Like, she needed a focus, that's why running, ended up, like, being her thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I still think that if Nurse comes again, they're gonna jump her, so
Oh yeah, I think they would
I
all
don't
be ready to fight.
yeah, I don't think anybody in that group is going to die at this point.
Okay. Kimmy
I
has the
think
question, did nurse accidentally make blight through the wrong injection? No.
I think Blight is self-inflicted.
Blight is self-inflicted. Blight was experimenting and did that to himself. He's a really fun backstory. Sort of fun. It's also a little bit problematic, but
I haven't actually gotten to Blight yet, so
yeah.
so
Okay.
that brings us to the next group.
Of Nancy, Steve, Cheryl, Lori, Bill, Fang, Yui, and Adam. And Felix. So, I'm just gonna say Nancy and Steve, similarly to Quentin. Um, if if you met somebody and they were like, "Hey, my brother's best friend was kidnapped and taken to another dimension, and from this dimension escaped this weird carnivorous plant-like alien monster that has been chasing us around, trying to kill us and eat us." Or she's just like, my best friend was dragged into an alternate dimension. Like, that kind of shit sounds a little crazy.
I think like Nancy out of the two of them, because at least from watching the series, Steve really doesn't like let people seem to know that shit's going down. Like he's
Yeah.
oddly composed for being Steve.
You want that interdimensional Robin?
But
Yeah.
I also don't think Nancy would ever be by herself because Steve would be there and we have heard Steve screams. The moment that something comes after Nancy, he's gonna get loud and he's gonna go and jump in for her.
I think I mentioned it earlier. Cheryl and Lori also just wouldn't make it. Again, Cheryl, the whole reincarnation thing, being raised by a cult, and then Lori just being like, "There's a guy stalking me, trying to kill me," because they didn't even believe her. Like, I guess in like the movie or whatever, like
He didn't believe
the one dude
anybody
did.
else. Like Lori was acting like shit was fine. She's
That's
like, "Oh,
true.
that's kind of weird." And then, the kids are like, "There's a dude out there." And she's like, "No, there's not. What are you guys talking about?" And then it happens. It's like, "You know what? You've been warned."
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I just imagined like somebody being like, Dwight just died, and then Lori's just like, no, there wasn't a ghost lady.
Guys are screwing with me. I feel like Cheryl would be like, "There's a ghost," like 100%. Like she's like, "I believe it."
Just the danger sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So
Bill Fung, Yui, and Adam are also in this group. But I don't
yeah,
think any of them are gonna go anytime soon.
no. So I think out of all of those, Cheryl is the most likely target because she doesn't have a lot of like connections with anybody. And out of all of them, she's probably got the most outlandish uh stories
Reality.
going on. Yeah. Like she's got fierce competition, but Cheryl comes out on top on this one. There's this guy with a big triangle on his head
the
dragging a
then
knife, a big butcher knife bigger than my body.
she starts talking about how evil nurses are. She's just like, they're covered in bandages, they have no eyes, and then the
Oh
nurse
my
shows up.
god. And nurse just
What
comes
a
out and it's
throwback.
exactly what she was describing.
Not in her head. Obviously, she looks different, but the way you would describe the nurses in Silent Hill, everybody would be like, "That's the nurse."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my god, Cheryl was right. Of course, they're after her."
That would be like, I feel like that would be the biggest Scooby Doo moment. Like she would come out of the wall and they're just like, "Ah!"
So imagine they're just like, Felix is giving the tour and he's talking about how this nurse murdered everybody, and then Cheryl's just like, "Oh my god," because I tell you, when I gave tours, people would always share their personal stories constantly, and Cheryl's just like, "Oh my gosh, let me tell you about these nurses." And as she's
Yes.
talking about it, the nurse shows up. Uh, storytelling at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Oh
I
boy.
I think if anybody else is gonna die in this, it's because Bill's probably packing, and he's probably gonna take a shot at her, and we might get
Oh my god.
an accidental death,
Oh no.
which I feel
Steve.
like hang on, I feel like we need to have an actual amount of randomness in this.
Oh,
What's this?
okay.
They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1d6. We'll just do it in that order. So we'll roll the d6, and we have number 2. No,
Steve!
Steve!
Oh, I called it. Ah, ba,
Goodbye,
ba.
sweet sailor.
I think the nurse would go after Bill then. Um, just from the pure threat of him trying to attack her.
I don't think that like if she came out at that point, they're ready for her. And I feel like a bone saw isn't gonna be enough for Bill.
That's fair. You're right.
Dude
He can,
dies on a hook with a cigarette still burning in his mouth. The
yeah,
bone saw's not gonna do
he
it.
he can take a lot. Yeah,
And if she tries to choke him, there's gonna be a dog pile.
yeah.
So I feel like at that point, everybody out of the building, we're all gonna regroup.
Okay. So we are at. Okay. So if everybody's out of the building, then I can actually like organize this how it
Yes.
should be. Let me keep this color coded so I can remember who was with who.
Switch Cheryl and Steve.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Steve.
The tragedy.
He really was. I was hoping for him.
Okay, I need to
Damn you, dice.
get Kate's tour bus back together. Let me just Zarina and Yinjin's missing. Okay.
And Jane is up at the top right now.
Yeah. I'm just keeping them color coded.
Okay, okay.
So I just so I remember like when we recap who was with who.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody's outside regrouping. Do they want to send Tappan as security to
I think that if they all go out there and they're like there's this crazy bitch in there killing people, blinking through walls, they're not going to send anybody in alone because together they can overpower them. But they will probably have Tap and Bill
I
like
was just thinking
one
Bill would go with Tap.
yeah, like one holding up the front, the other one going out the back, and then everybody's like grabbing weapons and shit. Like somebody goes into finds David's body, finds their car, looks through the car, finds a chainsaw. Like they're all going in with a guitar and a chainsaw and like uh anything they could get out of the car to change a tire. Like they're coming in armed with the most makeshift crap they can get.
Let's start with Bill and Tap leading the way.
Okay.
Do we want either of them to die?
No, I don't think she can overpower either one of them if they're together.
Okay.
And even if there was an accidental shot, Tap is wearing a bulletproof vest.
Yes.
So they're in good shape here.
If we go by his new outfit, Bill also has a bulletproof vest.
Yes. And
Um,
Bill gives me the feeling that he would actually keep one in the trunk of his car. Like
yeah.
he gives me that, you know, grandpa vibe where if you open up the trunk and, pull up the part where you're gonna go look for your spare tire, it's just filled with rifles.
I was thinking he gives me Cloverfield Lane vibes
Yeah, 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 yeah.
of, yeah, just he's lived through the apocalypse. Of course, he'd be prepared for it.
Mhm.
Okay. So, if they all just leave the building, and you said they're going to go in and try to fight her,
Yeah.
okay. The spirit of David returns. Um,
So they're gonna go in and, be the professionals that they are, checking rooms and shit. Everybody else is just holding their makeshift weapons. Kate's got her guitar in like a baseball bat fashion. Nancy's clutching Steve's baseball bat because it's all she has left of him.
I think they're the only
Yinjin's
ones who would have weapons. Oh,
Yinjin's just got her nice fingernails. She could probably stab a bitch with those.
Lori has the knitting needles.
Yes.
Um,
Yui probably has anything from her
I
motorcycle,
was
like,
trying to think
repair.
like a wrench or something.
Yeah.
I don't think
So,
anybody else would have anything weapon like.
Bill's got a gun, Tap's got a gun, Kate's got a guitar, Nancy's got the baseball bat, Yui's got a wrench,
Lori has knitting needles.
Lori has knitty needles.
She could have loaned one
So,
to somebody.
I feel like she'd give it to Fung.
I was
Like, she's
thinking
kinda similar age.
works for me. So Lori and Fung
Um,
have some knitting needles.
and then I feel like they could get there were 2 cars, 1 bus, so there would probably be, a tire iron of some sort in those 3, which would give 3 people a tire iron.
Please, Meg.
Make the tire iron.
I think that would just be hilarious.
And I'm sure there's more shit on the tour bus. Like, they probably have frying pans and shit. Like, if I'm imagining this tour bus is like an RV, so they probably
Mm-hmm.
actually have knives and frying pans and
So are they just gonna gang up and
oh,
jump
yeah.
jump the nurse?
You bet your ass they are.
I need her to kill more people,
She can get the stragglers, like the ones that are hiding at the back.
which would be
Probably Lori
uh, and
and
Fung.
Fung, and honestly, I don't think the knitting needles are gonna do it.
Yeah.
They might injure her, but it's not gonna kill
Oh
her.
yeah, no, absolutely not. So is that how you spell straggler? Apparently not. Not strangler. There we go.
Because I feel like both Lori and Fung are small enough that even if the nurse attacked them and they were both, like, at the back, they probably couldn't overpower her.
Yeah, the other one wouldn't be able to really help out too
Yeah.
much. And then the nurse just
So,
bone saws the other.
yeah. So, those 2 would go down because even together, they probably wouldn't have the combined strength to do it.
Yeah.
So I think our boys are pretty safe because now we're pretty much just down to beefcakes. Or at least they've got, butts big enough that the nurse wouldn't be able to handle it.
All right.
'Cause let's face it, Felix's butt is so good that it functions as a blind.
Honestly, the only reason I was like Felix might be able to make it was just because he was the best looking, and I was just like, what
Yeah,
if in headcanon, like Andrew looked like Felix?
I could see that.
And she's just like, ha, Andrew. But then what if she wants to kill him? She's like, you can be with me forever. That could be a thing.
I feel like Claudette is probably another potential target because she's not especially strong and she's not especially fast.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think she
honestly,
would just get bone sawed.
yeah, and
Uh,
honestly, even if she had a weapon, I don't think she's not there's nothing saying that she'd be able to use it or know how to hit properly.
I think her and Meg would probably team up, and then as soon as the nurse shows up, and the nurse goes to bonesaw Meg, Meg just sprint bursts out of the way, and Claudette has the unfortunate mishap of being there.
Yes, the sandbag.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
That's how you would describe it. It would be a sandbag. Yep.
but hey, at that point, Meg would alert them that she's attacking the people behind, which might adjust their formation a bit to be a little bit
Yeah.
more closer together.
So then we have a whole bunch of people left.
Oh yeah.
So they know they're just like nobody get too far behind, everybody stay close.
hmm
Um
I think then they would put either Bill or Tap, like one person's
in the
holding up
front.
the back and one at the front.
Yeah. Which and I think would they I wonder if they would try to come up with a plan to like lure her out so they can all just attack her. Who would be the bait?
Meg, because she got away the first time.
I don't think Meg would want to.
Have an option.
What?
Would Meg have an option?
I was thinking Yui or Bill would be brave enough to be like, yeah, I can fight her if she tries to get me.
Yui might volunteer.
I
Nancy might volunteer.
I think Nancy would volunteer and they would just be like, you're very small.
And Yunjin would be like, but she's a volunteer.
Ah! Yep. Okay. You win this round. So Nancy volunteers to be bait.
Yes.
And so that means that like she won't be far from the group, but she does need to go off alone for the
I
nurse
do
to pick her off.
I do feel confident that she would be able to at least survive for the group to get there.
Yes.
Um, like I'm thinking that what's going to happen is that the nurse would pop in to kill Nancy. Nancy would scream bloody murder to let everybody know that she's coming, but she also knows that she's going to blink, so she's going to be swinging that baseball bat in a wide arc. So
And
she's
Ash
probably she's probably actually going to clobber her. So the nurse might retreat from Nancy, and then since the group is like bum rushing ahead, maybe go back and try and pick the another straggler off that's in the back.
I mean the nurse could also just as the group rushes blink and bonesaw someone random.
That is also true.
Do you want to do another dice roll?
How many people do we have here?
We
Let's
have
see.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
13. Okay. I'm just going to roll a d20, and if I get within the 13.
It's then someone random will die.
Yep.
That sounds good.
That is not one of the numbers. Neither is that. Number 4.
1, 2, 3. Zarina.
So this is it. This is their time.
So Zarina gets bone salt
Yes.
when rushing the nurse, dies, and then the nurse blinks away again.
I want him to get a couple hits.
Ooh, you want her to do a double blink? Or you
No,
want
not
them?
the nurse.
Oh,
Like, if
I
she
just
comes
want
back,
her to kill everybody.
I don't want her to kill everybody.
Okay. You want them to get a couple hits on the nurse?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I feel like they could do some damage to her. Because if she's blinking into Zarina, she's blinking into the group. So she's taken a risk going for Zarina.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a couple of hits. We are slowly weakening the nurse. Which that might actually make her come back with the syringe. Because she needs to be quick and dirty.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like the idea of like from here on out, she just blinks in and it's random who she attacks.
Yeah. So that brought us down to 12.
Yeah.
I'll actually use my d12. All right. So our next target is number 3.
1, 2, 3. Nancy. Yeah, that actually works out story wise. Because she's just like, I almost had you.
Yeah.
Comes back to get her again.
Yeah, she clobbers her. There's a little bit of relief because she left her, and then the nurse comes back.
With the syringe this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Which Nancy's got a little bit of time to die at that point because the syringe is not a quick death.
No, it is not. God, I remember watching that clip actually. So Nancy obviously is like convulsing and shit from the syringe. I feel like Jane would probably be the most likely to try and help her.
I think Adam would.
Adam would too.
Adam's a very nice man.
Adam's a dear. And the smartest in the entire group. I was about to say of who's left, but honestly, looking at the whole list, Adam's the smartest of the. Adam's the smartest survivor.
I think Claudette would give him a run for his money.
Oh, true, yeah.
She's very smart.
Yeah, Claudette and Adam are like the two smartest. So they're both going to go and try to help Nancy. I imagine the nurse just like hits and runs.
Yeah.
But if we want them to get a couple more hits.
How many would you like me to roll?
I would say they could get more hits.
Okay.
If you would like. How many hits do we want it to take before she stops? I don't think they'll kill her. Because, like, she is still, like, a spirit of some sort, right? Like,
I have the faith that Elodie would be able to get rid of her.
If like Supernatural style, salt and burn.
Yeah. Like, she's gonna drive that bitch out of here. Elodie is the Ghostbuster.
Elodie's like, guys, we got to do some sort of like an exorcism on this place.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, we need to gather some shit to be able to do it, and that's why they're like staying in.
Yeah.
instead of just, getting in their cars and fucking leaving like sane people would.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So, if they're trying to defend themselves while they gather everything they need, potentially they need to like find some personal belonging of the nurses or something weird
Yeah.
like that. We can make up the superstitions ourselves. Um, okay, so Nancy is just on the ground convulsing. Adam's trying to take care of her, but like she's just gonna die.
Yeah.
Um, when the nurse comes to stab Nancy, the rest of them can get in a couple of hits, but the nurse isn't obviously it's not going to really stop her. It'll just delay her.
Right.
She can come back. Do we want her to get someone else?
Let's have her come after them when they're trying to get like her personal belonging.
Okay.
Because that's a very invasive thing to do. To come in and take someone else's shit.
Okay.
And they're just checking rooms and then they find the bathroom. they're just like, what the fuck happened here? Which
Oh,
that might be a good time for her to strike because everybody's just flabbergasted that 3 grown-ass men
we're just
are
dead in the
lying in.
bathroom.
Yeah, one's literally on the shitter, smiling but dead, and the other 2 are just laid out in front of them.
They're trying to be like, what in the world? All right, so we're down to 11. If you'd like to roll the d12.
Number 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bill.
Oh no, Bill. Bill just kicks the door down, goes, "What the?" and then gets she might actually use the syringe on him because she's not gonna be able to strangle him.
Yeah, because she tried before.
Yeah. And if she came with the bone saw, she would run the risk of getting shot, so she's gonna go after him with the syringe. Which I feel like Bill would stay with them, like, it's gonna be painful, but Bill's gonna literally be walking dead with them until he goes down.
Yeah. He's that type.
Meg's just openly weeping because Grandpa Bill is sick, and he's, like, giving her instructions on how to use his gun if he
Oh.
doesn't make it.
Oh my gosh, wait, no, this is how Meg can get got to, because if he'll get to a point within a couple minutes of like he just can't
Yeah.
walk, and she's just like, while he's still conscious, she's like, I can't leave you alone. But she gets left behind.
Yeah.
And the last thing he sees, because he still takes a little bit to die, is Meg getting strangled.
I could see him, like, trying to pull out the gun and,
And
like,
he
trying
can't,
to shoot her.
he's too weak, and his hands are just like, because he's seizing, and
Oh, my heart. I've never been so sad about a Meg dying. But that would at least buy some time
it would.
for everybody to get their shit.
To find whatever that mysterious belonging is of the nurse that they need.
Yeah.
At which point, Elodie will
They
begin the exorcism.
they find a picture of her husband
Yeah, like a
in her.
locket that she had or
Yeah.
something. That's what it was. And Elodie begins the exorcism, which I just watched the new Conjuring movie, and what I know anything about an exorcism is that it makes the spirits very angry, and they start
Yeah.
attacking a lot.
Okay.
So if you'd like to whip out a D10, and we'll just cross our fingers and hope it's not Elodie.
You can do it, Elodie. You can do it.
Because if she gets got, I think they're just gonna have to leave.
Felix can take it up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, he could. He could.
He's he doesn't have the experience, but if Elodie can get him started. Number 7.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's Kate.
Ooh, that also makes sense because when she gets introduced, like Clown and Nurse actually share a map.
Mm-hmm.
So Kate's been there before.
All right.
Elodie, you gotta make it.
Wait. Hold on. Actually, can you roll either a D4 or a D6 to find out how many rounds we need to go killing people before the nurse is exercised?
D4 says 1.
That sounds boring.
And the D4 says 3.
Okay. Do we want that to say 3 more or 3 total?
Let's do 3 more.
Okay.
Which my original roll is also 3. So Jake gets got next.
Whoops. All right.
So we're down to 7. I actually gotta roll within the 7s. Elodie just got.
A
Felix
dramatic turn of events.
Felix has to continue for her now. And so long as Felix doesn't bite it next.
I think we're at 6, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And number 4.
Oh, that was close. Oh, yeah, we've actually put her on the list to make it.
I know. She got killed by the random numbers.
Damn.
I mean, I guess if she's angry enough.
Yeah. I mean, actually, like, I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of like. I would love Elodie to make it to the end because I love her. I do think it's really interesting that we have 2 who go out. The nurse finally gets the one who's conducting the exorcism, and then as Felix continues, we know Elodie made it far enough because only one more person dies before Felix finishes the exorcism.
Yes.
That's a good story. So then the rest of these, they just live. They get out, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Can I just say I'm
wait.
happy to see Tap finally
I was just about to say that. I was like, wait, Tap made it out.
He's been on our first down list so many times.
I know. Oh, I'm so happy for him.
And I love Adam, so I'm glad Adam made it too.
Yes. This is a good list of people who, before we went through this, I would have thought actually would have died.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So are you ready for the recap?
Yep.
All right. So here we go. It is an abandoned asylum. They have ghost tours that they do. And outside of ghost tours, they also have people who trespass. And Nia loves to go tag the place, and she drags along her friend Quentin. And while they are there, unsupervised and alone, they get mysteriously murdered by the supposed ghost of the asylum, the nurse. And then, on the anniversary of the urban legend of when this nurse 100 years ago murdered everybody within the asylum, orderlies and nurses included, a bunch of people decide that's the best night that they could go on a tour. Or, yeah, go on a tour of the place. So, in different groups, we have. Hold on, how did I have this sorted? We have Kate's tour bus. They just happen to be driving by and they're like, this is a good place to just stop, chill out. Let's check out this town and what they have to offer. And it happened to be a ghost tour. Zarina, Kate, Yunjin, and Jane. And we also have the OG friend group, Dwight, Claudette, and Megan, Jake. We have our teens, Cheryl, Steve, Lori, and Nancy. And we have a bunch of people who decided to go along and get grouped together, and that's Feng, Bill, Yui, and Adam. But we also have the Bromobile, which has the misfortune of being some of our first dead. So we have Ash, David, Jeff, and Ace, who are just some dudes. They're going out. They're going to go to a dive bar because there's some random concert that they just want to go to get drunk, have a good time, you know? Ash has to go to the bathroom real bad. So they pull over and they're like, yeah, this place, they do public tours, they're public. Surely they'll let you use the restroom. They do. They let Ash go and use the restroom there. While they're waiting, Ace tells David, bet you can't beat that tree. And Ace was in fact correct because David hits his head too hard against the tree and dies of head trauma. At which point, Jeff and Ace are like, what would really be cool is if we take revenge on this tree. David would really like that. If we beat the tree up for him since he can't anymore, let's go get Ash and get his chainsaw. So they go to find Ash in the bathroom, and they do find Ash in the bathroom, dead. But smiling. Because while David was fighting a tree, Ash met a sexy ghost lady in the bathroom and offered her his services. And she started to choke him, and he said some snarky line of, oh, we're not even going to have a safety word first. And I imagine those were his last words.
Yeah.
Or just like, what's the safety word?
Yeah, he wasn't even fighting back. He was just into it.
Yeah. So that's how Ash goes. When Ace and Jeff get in there and they find Ash's body, they are horrified. The nurse comes back when she realizes that there's others there and just gets Jeff with the bone saw. Ace tries to run, but gets got and dragged back into the bathroom. And they are left there. And apparently, nobody else had to go to the bathroom for a while. So...
Who goes to an asylum to take a shit other than Ace?
That's fair.
Ash.
That's fair. So then we have, I think it was green and blue together. So they're all color-coded by the groups that we had them in. So Dwight, Claudette, Zarina, Meg, Kate, Jake, Yunjin, and Jane were all in a travel group together. They were going on tour, and I think Elodie was their tour guide going around the place. Dwight is going a little bit slower, gets caught in the end, like at the back of the group, and the nurse blinks in and starts strangling him. Meg hears him, kind of struggling for breath, but she knows he's scared of everything. He's always so anxious. She doesn't look back, and she's just like, oh my god, Dwight, it's not that scary. Then they realize... Or no, that, they realize that he actually got choked to death, and then...
Like, time to leave.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, because then we go to the other group. I was like, wait, where'd Cheryl and Steve come in from? Because they're in the other group. So then they're like, oh shit, Dwight's dead. So Elodie's like, we gotta get out of here, because Elodie's fucking smart. She knows that shit. So then the second group, Felix is also giving a tour with Cheryl, Steve, Lori, Feng, Nancy, Bill, Yui, and Adam. He's giving a tour, and Elodie's group is making their way out, and so the nurse goes and finds another target. While Felix is telling the story of the nurse and everything she did, Cheryl's just like, oh, this reminds me of some nurses that I know of. And like, as she's sharing her story, the nurse comes out and is just like, seems familiar. and strangles Cheryl, who can't really fight back very well. Bill, who is always carrying a gun, decides that it's a good time to try to shoot the person strangling Cheryl, and ends up shooting Steve instead.
Steve, like, Bill pulls out his gun to shoot, and Steve's like, "Oh God, I gotta help this woman," and steps and just gets
Oh
shot.
yeah, that's a good one. Steve tries to go and pull the nurse off of Cheryl as she's being choked to death, and the wrong time. Oh. At this point, with two deaths in Felix's group, he is also like, "Hey, we need to get out of the building," and so they go out. And this is where Elodie is just like, "Hey, it's the ghost of the nurse. She's haunting the place. We need to exercise. We got to go in there. We got to find her locket." They all go in they gather a bunch of weapons to defend themselves with.
Mm-hmm.
Some tire irons. Kate's bringing her guitar. Fang and Lori think knitting needles might help.
Funk doesn't have anything. Lori's just like whips out that knitting needle, like, "I'm gonna kill a bitch," and it's like, "Oh, here, you can have one."
Yeah, Funk takes one too.
Thank you.
Some frying pans. Nancy grabs Steve's baseball bat. They think they're in pretty good condition. Lori and Fung end up being at the rear, and the nurse comes out to attack Lori because she's toward the back. The knitting needle is not enough to defend herself with, so the nurse strangles or bone saws. I didn't write this one down.
I think she like strangles Lori, and Fung's trying to help her, and then she like bone saws her.
Okay.
So I think it was a combination.
So strangles, Lori, bone saws, Fung, because Fung would try to fight her and also be like, "I have a knitting needle too."
Yeah, I just imagine like Fung's on her back, like stabbing and stabbing and stabbing, and then Lori dies, and she blinks out, and Fung just drops on top of her, and then she comes out with a bone saw and just nails her.
Yes. So they got, and then Meg and Claudette are the next toward the back of the group. Which when the nurse goes to blink to get Meg just fucking runs, and unfortunately Claudette's not as fast and gets sandbagged by Meg and bone sawed. Which Meg says, "Guys, she's picking them off at the back," and I would imagine Bill's probably the one, because if Meg's the one that tells everybody, Bill's just like, "I'll guard the back."
Bill ends up going front because he's the one that finds the bathroom scene. So Tap.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's true. Okay, yeah, you're right. So Tap takes up the back, Bill takes up the front, so they can guard from both sides. And the nurse, they were like, "Oh, we need to try, and if we can try to fight the nurse, we'll lure her in." So they're like, "Nancy, you go into this room alone. We'll be right outside."
And Nancy volunteers. Somebody was like,
Yunjin.
"No, she's too small," and Yunjin's like, "But she's a volunteer." Off she goes.
Right. So Nancy goes into this room alone, and as soon as the nurse comes in, she screams and goes to swing Steve's bat, nails the nurse. Everybody hears her scream. They all rush in, and when they rush in, the nurse blinks and randomly attacks one of them, and it happens to be Zarina. The rest of them do get a few hits in, but then the nurse just vanishes again, and so Zarina was bone sawed. At this point, the nurse knows she has to fight dirty. She's got to go back to her old tactics. So, when she comes back, she has her syringe with the concoction. And, hello, Poseidons. It's going well. We're doing the recap. She blinks back in. She finds her original target, Nancy. And she, syringes Nancy. Now, it doesn't kill her instantly. It has to take effect. So she starts convulsing and everything, and Adam tries to help. He has no idea how to help, but he will try to comfort her. He will do his best to be like, see if laying this way helps you breathe. Like, he'll do his best, but she's gone.
Pulling his jacket off, using it to give her a blanket.
Adam's the nicest. And once Nancy's dead, they're just like, okay, we got to keep going. We got to get rid of this nurse ghost. And uh, as they're searching the rooms trying to find her locket, they find the bathroom. Bill kicks in the bathroom door, and there they find Ash sitting on the toilet dead. Ace and Jeff just lying across the floor. And then, before Bill can be like, what the fuck happened here? The nurse comes back with another syringe and he gets got. He does not go down as easily as Nancy. He can fight for a couple of minutes, hobbling along. But he is in the back of the group. Meg's sticking with them because she can't leave Grandpa Bill alone. And he, once he can't move anymore, and he just like falls to the ground, she stays with him, and he's like, you gotta go with the rest of them. The nurse comes back when Meg's distracted and catches her and strangles her, and it's the last thing Bill sees is Meg dying. And they die pretty much at the same time. So they're together there. Yeah. It's very sad. But it does buy enough time for the rest of them to collect the nurse's locket so Elodie can use it to do some exorcism shit. And they begin that. And I watched The Conjuring recently, so exorcism causes spirits to get really angry. And so we just randomly rolled some dice for people to die. And the first one to go is Kate. The angry spirit shows up. The nurse kills Kate. I don't think we really specified if it was strangle, bone saw, or syringe, but Kate gets got. And then they keep going. And then the nurse comes back and Jake gets got. And then they keep going. And finally the nurse is like, you're the one doing the exorcism. And Elodie gets got. And Felix is like, we're so close, we almost got this done. He picks up the mantle to continue Elodie's work to finish the exorcism. The nurse comes back one more time, and Yunjin gets got. But that is just enough for them to finish the exorcism of the Crotus Print Asylum to get rid of the nurse. And our survivors are Yui, Adam, Tap for the first time ever, not being first dead, Felix, and Jane.
It's a good group.
It is.
I am so happy that Adam made it.
I'm very happy Tap made it. Extremely happy that Tap survived.
Yeah. And he was security, so he was outside the building most of the time. So
yeah.
I just imagine he just watched like.
I imagine he quits his job. Like there's a post-credit scene of him turning in his 2 weeks to whoever owns the building.
Yeah, he's like saw David kill himself headbutting a tree and was like, "Nope, we're done. We're done."
Yeah. Hello, magical panda.
There's only so many stupid people you can tolerate.
Yeah. He almost didn't let Ace and Jeff in because they were just so drunk. But they were just like, come on, man, our friend's in there. We just want to make sure he's been in there for a while. We just want to get him out.
Yeah, and he can't leave the door because he's got this big group coming in.
Which is why he doesn't even realize they never left.
Yeah.
He was too distracted by the other group.
Tap just wishes he was a detective again. I'm just so tired of this crap.
Yeah, and just the mall cop life, but worse.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was. Yui and Jane actually didn't get a lot of action this time.
No. And Yunjin and Yui didn't fight.
Yeah, that's a first.
Yeah. I love that we're developing like our own headcanon of stuff.
I know. And Yunjin didn't, die from some sort of pride incident. She didn't directly cause anybody to die.
Thank you, Ekalyn. Welcome from TikTok.
Nancy volunteered.
That's true.
So she didn't get somebody killed this time. And honestly, I think if it wasn't a random numbers thing, I think Yunjin would have made it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think she would have been a target if
I
Nurse hadn't been enraged.
yeah, I did like doing the random thing
So
though. That was pretty fun.
I think she would have gotten got, or not gotten got, but Jane would have if Nurse hadn't been
Yeah.
so damn pissed.
And just randomly attacking.
But when you're mad, the random number generator comes out. So
I just realized that Discord was not unmuting for me. But yeah, I agree. I think I liked the randomness of that. I think that was actually a really fun. It was different than what we've done in the past. And I think it worked for this one. I don't know if it would work so much for others in the future, but it was good.
I am just happy that unlike all of our other ones, Nurse is gone. There
Yes.
is no sequel for this one.
Or is there?
No.
If it were a movie and it was successful enough, they would find a way.
They would definitely find a way.
Any ideas of who you would like for next week?
Let's see. Let's see who we got here.
Thank you for stopping by, Ekalyn. I love people from the
Trapper.
TikTok.
We did Wraith, we did Hillbilly, we did Nurse. We went in order almost.
Yeah.
Shit.
We've also done Huntress.
Yes, we did do Huntress.
And Oni. The Hag has lore. The Doctor has lore. Spirit
has lore.
Yeah, Spirit and Blight have lore. Legion have lore.
What are we gonna do about the licensed killers?
I think
they're not getting tomes, are they? Because they're licensed. Other than Ghostface, Ghostface is an entirely different Ghostface.
Yeah, I think we should. We might have to talk through that because there is a chance that Myers might get tome.
Oh.
There have been some like leaks about that potentially happening with because they just renewed the license, which is how they got the ability to redo Lori, which I don't know if you've seen new Lori. They accidentally posted it on Twitter and then removed it, but they're redoing Lori, and that was part of the relicensing. And since they were able to get licensing, or I guess more licensing to be able to do lore for Bill, who is also a licensed character, I think that's something that they're looking into doing for more, and I think the Halloween chapter is going to be one of the first. So,
because I would love to do Ghostface, because like, again, he's not the Ghostface from the movies. This is a DBD Ghostface. This is not Ghostface the one word. This is Ghostface separate words, different guy.
It's just the mask. So I think he would be fine. But I think with
that, and I think Danny's a goober.
I think issue with like some of the licensed characters too is like if we did Cannibal, it's gonna be so similar to Hillbilly.
That, and as I've found from my Lori video, some of the movies retcon each other.
Yeah.
Because there is a fucking war being fought on my TikTok right now.
So like
about the lore of Myers.
Do we want to make the decision now and just say no licensed characters?
For now, no licensed characters. Like I feel like Amanda would probably be okay because her lore, as far as the movies are concerned, are like it's done.
Right.
So
I have to watch Saul, don't I?
Unless they do a reboot, she's available. Freddy, oh my god, I don't want to watch those movies because I hear how bad they are. Like if we did do any of the licensed killers, it would have to be based on one singular movie just to have a baseline
Okay.
and not go outside of that one because the lore is so convoluted.
So
I am
like
gonna say no Pyramid Head right now because I don't have the time to go through that much Silent Hill lore without, like, a month's notice.
fair. That's fair. Should we say go ahead and start going into Pyramid Head lore for a future episode?
Yeah.
Just so we can have it under our belt when the time comes.
Yeah,
But yeah, I agree. Like if we
start
do
writing a research
Halloween,
paper.
right? If we do Halloween, I think we should just go off like Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street. We should just go off like the originals,
Yeah.
the very first film, and make it that.
Mhm.
If we do, we want to just go in order and just go to Hag.
Yeah, we can do Hag.
Hers is very sad.
I'm really tired of these sad ones. That's why I was like,
It's
"Oh, Ghostface, he's so funny."
as yeah, hers is pretty sad.
And Death
Agatha.
Slingers isn't actually that sad.
Death Slingers isn't? I've never read his
No.
lore.
I don't know if he's got tome stuff. I haven't read his tome stuff if he has any.
I don't think he does. Let me.
I don't
Oh, do I
see
not have?
anything.
Where's my document with stats? I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't see a tome for him.
I don't think he has one. I think we're missing tomes for Deathslinger, Twins, obviously Trickster.
Yeah.
Um,
Plague
and
is finally coming out.
we're starting to get Plague, so we should be able to do Plague next month. Because in 1 week, not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, we'll get chapter 4 of Tome 7. So then, like, maybe a week or two after that, all the lore will be ready.
Okay, yeah, let's do Hagatha.
Okay.